Welcome back to evmmedia.info on a great Tuesday evening here in Bend, Oregon. This is The Promise Made. I'm your host, Bob Schuster, for the next hour. We're going to be available for any of your questions, and maybe you even got an answer. But call in with any question you might have about how to move your small business from where you are to where you want to go. Or maybe you're just starting a business and need some basic advice. We're going to talk about and mention Scripture from time to time, but we're not here to preach. The book, the Bible, the best-selling business book that's ever been written, will be mentioned from time to time. Now, this evening, like I say, it's Q&A. But if you have a good story, a good success story, a miracle that happened, call in and tell us about it. I will have Dave in just a second or two tell you what the phone numbers are and how to get a hold of us and how this all works. And so, Dave, it's yours.
Thank you very much, Bob, and welcome back. And we do want to mention, of course, it's a new night. We switched from before, and so we'll mention that more in a minute. But technically, here's how you call in. Two ways to call. You can call in Skype, and the Skype name is The Promise Made, or you can call in a regular phone line, which is 541-323-2882, 541-323-2882. That's the phone number you see Bob holding up. When you call in or when you Skype in, it's very important that you listen to Bob's answers to your question on the phone or on the computer. Don't listen to the stream, because the stream is about 20 seconds delayed from from real time. That's just the technical things of how it works. So, Skype in. The Promise Made is the Skype name, or just the regular plain old telephone landline is 541-323-2882, and Dr. Bob.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dave. Dave and I have a blast putting this together.
It's a kick.
It is a lot of fun, and we've had people call in with questions. We've had a few glitches, and that's the first thing I always do as a businessman, is admit that I am not perfect. We do make mistakes. We'll do our best to give you straight, honest. I've been in business for 45 years myself. I've built a couple of very successful businesses. But I assure you, I've fallen on my face a whole lot more than I have what they call succeeded. And when I say fall on my face, I prefer that over the word failure. I don't like the word failure. I don't think you fail. Just because you didn't get to the end yet doesn't mean you failed. Get up, put on your running shoes, and keep going. Now, tonight, my primary focus is going to be on the promise that was made, and I'm going to tell you exactly, I'm going to give you some real hard evidence of why so many people are not, or how many are, and what you can do to guarantee success. Now, there's a key to success. I got a key ring here. That's for my car. Actually, I guess it's more my wife's car than mine. I'm allowed to use it when I go into town. I don't have to drive my big truck. But this is a key ring. Now, let me ask you a question. You don't have to raise your hands. How many of you have a key ring like this? Now, I'm looking at this and, well, do I know what they all belong to? Well, this is really one of the smaller key rings. And I know that this one is for the car. And this one is for my big Ford 350. She drives that too. Now this key is for a camper I sold. Why? Look at your key ring. What are you carrying around? Then I guess, well, her 3 keys here are about like the 3 keys I've got on my key ring for my truck. Now I know one of them goes for the house. But look at your key ring. I don't know what these other two are. How many of you have a key ring, and on the key ring, you've got a couple keys that you don't know what they go to? But you've been carrying them around forever, as long as you can remember. Maybe one of those keys is since you got your first driver's license. Now, this is a small ring. How many of you have got a desk drawer or a container of some sort full of keys? I know I do. You throw them away? It might be important. You don't know to what it goes, but it just could be important. Now, that is the way people go through life. They carry, and it could be a key to your safety deposit box, where you keep the most important things in your life in the safety deposit box. I don't know, but you've held on to this forever. Now, you knew it was something important at one time. That's like life. You know, in John 10:10, Jesus said, I came not just to give you life, but to give it to you so that you would have it in more abundance. Now remember, you can call in. Just because I'm talking doesn't mean you can't call in, because I probably won't stop talking. Well, I'll stop talking when you call. But anyway, life in more abundance. Is that really what people are enjoying? Is life in more abundance? You know, in my 72, I'm 72 years old. And like I said, I've been in business for 45 years. I've got a few answers from experience. Some of my experiences, I assure you, were face plants. I used to do some skiing, so I'd rather use the word face plant because I always got up. I may have had blood running down my nose because my glasses cut me or some darn thing, but I always got up. Now, life in more abundance. What's happening to the American public, and if you're not in America, it's happening all over the world. You know, I've been through, in my 72 years, a lot of recessions, but nothing like this. And I always knew maybe one person that was suffering, or maybe it was me, but everybody else seemed to be doing okay. Now, things are different. Seems like I don't know anybody that isn't hurting somewhere or another. And if they've got a job, they're worried about keeping their job, not losing it. And you always hear, well, things are going to get better. Well, I tell you what, things ain't going to get better unless you get better. But the key, what's the key? I'll tell you what the key is. And I'll tell you what probably that key that you've had on this key ring that you knew was very important, that's why you didn't throw it away. I'm gonna give you some statistics. Just call me the Karl Rove of Bend. Here's the key. Now, I'm going to repeat these. At the top is 23%. This was based on a Ford Foundation study. We're talking now about what do people know that they're supposed to do in life? What are their goals? Now, the Ford Foundation found out that 23% of the adult population in the United States doesn't have the foggiest idea, not the foggiest, of why they're even existing. 67% got a pretty good idea why they're here. and maybe where they're going, but they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan for where they're going, and they don't have a real good grasp on why they're here. But they got a general idea. Now that's 90% of the people either don't know why they're here, or if they know why they're here, they don't know what they're going to do about it. They don't have a plan. Now, I'm not great at math, but that makes 90%. I figured this out before the show. So that leaves 10%. Now, 10% of the people have a very good idea where they're going. But that bottom figure is the key. 3%. And I'll tell you what the key is there. And that's how you can succeed. It's right here in this 3%. What they do is what you need to do, and if you don't, then you're going to end up, like I can give you other statistics, I don't want to tell you about that. At 3%. Now, what's the 3%? The 3% are the people, the adult people in the United States that not only know why they're here, but they have a plan. Here's the key. Here's the key. Not only know why they're here and have a plan, but they've got it written down. If it's not written down, it probably won't happen. And I don't mean like Earl Nightingale and Jim Rohn told me 40 years ago, because it didn't work very well. Put it on a 3x5 card, the house in Hawaii, $1 million in a savings account, whatever. You write it down, you put it in your pocket or your purse, and you look at it a lot during the day, and all of a sudden, boo, there it is, $1 million. House in Hawaii, you're on the beach. Don't work. They've not only, that 3%'s not only got them written down, but they work on them daily, at least weekly. They keep them updated. They change. It's like a sailboat at sea. I've only been on one, and I don't like them. I got friends that love going to sea in a sailboat. I don't like it. But anyway, you all know what a sailboat is and what it's got to do. The wind doesn't always come from the same direction. But if you're a sailor, you know where you're going. You got your heading. Whether it's 92 degrees or 37 degrees, whatever, that's your end mark. That's where you're going. That's where land is, or whatever is your goal. But the wind changes. You may have to what they call tack. The wind change, you may have to go over here a little bit for an hour or two or a day or two. And then the wind changes again. But you got to get back on that 37 degree mark. Okay, so it doesn't make any difference if you go over here a little ways, as long as you come back. And you keep success, as Jim Rohn put it, is a progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Also Earl Nightingale. And many others. As long as you keep your eye on, what do they say in baseball? Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. You know where you're going. And you have goals, 3%. And you know what the 3%? Of the 3% that got it written down, here's where you succeed. 89% of the time, according to the Ford Foundation, they reach their goal. Now the rest of the people, the other 97%, not only didn't reach their goal, I am a senior citizen, obviously. I'm a super senior. I'm 72. Do you know that 95% of all the people that reach age 65 are broke? dead, or both? The average Social Security check is a little over $14,000 a year. According to the Census Bureau, the official and the U.S. government, the official poverty level is about $12,000. So Social Security doesn't put you very far above the poverty level. Now you say, well, I got savings. 45%. I'm giving you figures tonight. Yeah, but think about it. 45% of those 65 and over, their total savings, 401ks, whatever you want to call them, IRAs, whatever, the total amount that they yield from that each year is about $1,500. Not $15,000, not per month, but $1,500 per year. The other 55% have less than $60,000 in savings. So, that's not meant to depress you. This is simple. You say, well, so what? I know I'm there, or I'm going to be there if I don't change. Yeah, it's very simple. But required in order to make it in this world, you have got to write down your goals and work on them constantly. Write down them in detail. Now, most of us weren't taught very well how to write down goals or how to create goals. But that's what's so important. You say, well, how do I know where I'm going? How do I know? This is the key to the house. This is the key to your life. How do I know what kind of goals to write down? Again, you can go back to the Bible. Matthew 25:14 talks about talents. Now, if you want to take and be the recipient of the promise made in John 10:10 to live life more abundantly, you've got to take a look at Matthew 25:14, where he talks about talents and gives a beautiful parable in there that people go, that's really simple. The guy gets 5 and the other guy gets 2 and somebody gets 1. The master was really harsh when he come back and found out that the guy with 1 didn't do nothing. He buried it in the ground and still had 1. Now the master, the parable is about God. He says he will give you all the talent and all the tools, all the wherewithal you need to excel in your talent zone. And if you don't, he's going to take it away from you. Now, I don't know about you. I got really serious a few years ago about this, and I should have got serious when I was 20. Of course, I wasn't paying much attention to the Bible when I was 20. When he says that talents, the master, that was God. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to show up. And he says, Bob, how did you do? He already knows. He just likes to ask you a question and make you feel bad. He said, how'd you do with the talent I gave you? I go, huh? 90% go, huh? I didn't know you'd give me a talent and I was supposed to do anything with it. He did. He did. He gave you a talent at conception. My belief, strong belief, at conception, he put in the DNA one or more talents that he hoped you would use for the benefit of mankind and yourself. But he guaranteed also that if you would put yourself out for the benefit of mankind, the more people you help, the more you would be blessed, and that's including material things. Now it's been said, don't chase your money, chase your passion. And so we're getting back now to talents. And we're getting back to the key. The key to your happiness in life, and that's what this is, the darn key that you've been keeping all the while, and you knew it was for something, but you forgot what it was. It was the talent that God placed in your DNA at conception. Now, most of us just kind of go through life. Paying the mortgage, getting married, raising kids, going to work, drink a beer, go hunting, and we get caught up in this, and I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with material things. There isn't. There's no darn thing wrong. And God blessed David. He blessed Solomon. He blessed everybody that once they got their act together and stopped sinning and started living a straight life, a good life, he blessed them, including material things. But you say, okay, so I got this key. How do I know what my talent is? Well, you can do like the guy in the Bible and take the talent, put it in the ground, say, well, I'm not going to look at it anymore, and I'm not going to try and do anything with it. I don't know what this is for. But I'll make sure that if he wants it, I'll give it back. Now your Maker gave you also free will. He didn't say you had to use your talent. He just said it's there. I hope you do. But only 3% do. Now how do you know what your talent is? Well, think back. I didn't use my talent for years. Right? I didn't realize, even though I was using it, it was on the side. It was kind of like an also. I was doing what I was doing to make a living, and then somebody would say, well, can you? And I go, well, yeah. And I really enjoyed that. Oh, yeah. But I didn't do it as a living. I didn't. And when I mean living, I'm not talking about making a living. I would have made a great living if I would have lived my talent. But I didn't. I go, so you look back like I look back. You say, well, what's my talent? It was obvious at one point, maybe more than one. Mine was obvious more than one, and yours has been obvious more than one time also. Look at the time. Remember back to that magic moment. That magic moment when you probably even said, oh my God, I can't believe I'm enjoying something so much. That's right. Oh my God. Look back and you say, I'm enjoying and I'm so good at what I'm doing. I would do this for the rest of my life for nothing. Hopefully, excuse me, I hope that didn't jump in your ears. I would do this for the rest of my life for nothing. And now I know somebody's got to pay your bills. Okay? But if you do it really well, the bills will get taken care of. Pastor Dave has got a mission. He's got a ministry. He's got several. Now, I've been blessed to be able to work with him. I've learned about his talent, and he's learning about mine. And mine is just as passionate as his, and that is to be able to burn it. Hey, I'm not a television celebrity. I'm just a clumsy guy.
Live TV.
Live TV. This is on Adam's Live. And I'll edit it out when we get it.
But right now it's live.
It's live. And we have fun. You got to have fun. Don't worry about those things. I was giving a talk the other night at Toastmasters, and I had a big flip chart. And as soon as I walked up and got my flip chart set down, and you're really judged by the minute, the dang thing fell over. But having been used to things happening, I've got children, I've got a wife. Everything doesn't always happen perfectly. You don't always have perfect quiet. Things can happen, and you just go, no. And that's what I did. I went, and they thought it was really amazing. I go, don't worry about it. I'll get it. And I went around and I got it. Just like this microphone. Don't worry about it. It's live TV. And I'm not vetted by Fox News or CBS or NBC or anybody else. But I've got a mission, and that is to help small business people find their talent. And so many people today are struggling. You don't need to. You really don't need to. You say, well, I'm going to wait until things get better. Well, while you're waiting, why don't you use your talent? Check your heart. See where your talent is. You're going to be waiting for something to happen. Well, guess what? If you don't make it happen, it won't happen. And because I assure you that what other people have got in mind for your life is not, Bill. Yeah, your former employer is really worried about Bill. Or the government. They're not worried about you. They really aren't. You have got to take you. You say, well, how come my life is what it is? Well, that's what you attracted to it. I've had times when my life was total doo-doo. More than once. Why was it total doo-doo? Because I attracted doo-doo. So, get back to thinking about what Matthew 25:14 said. What is your talent? Because that's the key. That's the key. That's the one that was on the ring here that you didn't know what the heck it went for. That's your talent. Start writing goals. The 3%. You say, well, I don't get excited about writing the goals to pay the mortgage. No, you're not going to get excited about writing goals to pay the mortgage. You write goals that get you to where Matthew 25:14 wants you, using your talent. That's when you'll get excited. you'll get up in the morning, you'll want to. How many of you jump out of bed going, gosh, I'm just so excited today I get to pay my light bill? If you do, I don't want to invite you over for coffee. Okay? No, you want to get up in the morning and say, I can't believe. Dave, who's my partner here in the booth and out of camera range, I make him stay back there. He's young. You better look at. No, don't go waving. David's going to wave. Yes, think about what it is, Matthew. And I'll tell you, that's the only way you're going to partner Matthew 25:14 along with John 10:10, and things are going to work out. But the Bible is such a good business book. It just got basics, common sense in there. I believe it's Proverbs 24:27. I've got about 10 that I kind of hang my hat on. And Proverbs 24:27 cautions you to prepare or do your outside work, prepare your fields, then build your house. And that's what a small business person's going to do. That's what you're going to do when you found the key, you found your talent, you start writing goals. But be sure you prepare, you do your outside work, get the outside work done, prepare the field. That means your goals. Then build the house. Have a solid foundation. And the foundation is built around your talent. You say, oh, I know what my talent is. Dave knows what his talent is. He's a pastor. He's a minister. He wants to get the Word of God out to everybody. He's got a special program for veterans. It's on the Eagle. What is it? Eagle?
Eagleswings.
Eagleswings.info?
Eagleswings.us.
Oh,
Operation Eagleswings.
OperationEagleswings.us.
And you're broadcasting on it right now.
Oh, I am. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, because that's one of your passions. That's one of your goals.
Yeah, it's one of my passions is to reach out to veterans and to honor them and to tell their story. There's a lot of challenges that veterans are faced with right now. Some of them are being deployed 4 and 5 times because there's nobody else to send over, and when they come home to get a job, there's no job. So the only paycheck they can find is going back into the battlefield. And they're putting their lives on the line every day. They're seeing their good friends get blown up in front of them, losing arms and legs, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and the incidence of suicide among veterans is increasing. And we want to get the story out about veterans to honor them. The mission statement of Operation Eagleswings is honoring those who served and leaving no one behind. One of the challenges for veterans is homelessness. There's a lot of homeless veterans out there. And when we say leaving no one behind, we don't want veterans to come back from Afghanistan, Iraq, or wherever they're serving back into the community and feeling like the community didn't care or the country didn't care. I believe it's the Marines that have... were you a Marine?
Yes,
okay.
I am a Marine.
Oh, you're a Marine. Is their motto, we leave no one behind in the field of battle?
True.
And I like that. It says a lot. And so we adopted as, we borrowed it from the Marines, one of the armed services that we honor. So our mission statement is honoring those who served and leaving no one behind. leaving no one behind is we don't want to go to veterans and say, well, too bad you lost your arm, but deal with it and good luck with that. We need to do something to show them that we honor them and we care about them, and not that we want to give them charity, but they put their lives on the line, and we owe them a debt of gratitude. So what we do with the Eagle is find out what's going on in veterans' lives, in veterans' circles, and promote it. Major event we have coming up on 9/11. We are going to have a day-long event at the Les Schwab Amphitheater in Bend, Oregon, starting at 8 a.m., going until 10 p.m. I already have the venue booked. It's a Sunday. And we're going to have tributes. We'll have music. Vendors will have food there. The food won't be free, but entrance will be free to the public. So we also will be doing Skype phone calls on the stage to members serving overseas. And it's all to honor veterans and first responders. We're going to be honoring police and firefighters because on 9/11, a decade ago, a lot of the New York Fire Department died rushing into buildings that everybody else was running out of. And your hat has to go off to people who will run into danger to save another's life. So the Eagle is about honoring people who do that. So, and matter of fact, we're broadcasting on it right now.
And that is such a worthwhile program. The government tends, and I don't want to get political, but it's a little bone in my craw, and a lot of yours. It's easy to send, and they'll always say, "Oh, I really think about this hard." It's a political decision, and these young men and women are willing to serve so that we don't have to. They're willing to give up their lives, first for their buddies, second for their families, and third for the country. But the country, how sadly, forgets them by and large when they get back. And their families are being cared for better now than they were, but still, good Lord, these people are being sent over, yanked out of their jobs. They're reservists. They're yanked out of their jobs. They may have been making a lot of money, very secure, and when they come back without an arm or a leg or maybe their best friend. They've got traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. I know about it. So, who's there? I know I was never in combat, but I remember my brother. Real quick story. He was in Vietnam. He served as a side gunner on a helicopter. Saw many things that were very shocking. And when he came back, it's terrible what we do. He was in battle yesterday. His buddies were getting killed. He was killing people. And 24 hours later, he's in civvies getting off an airplane in Oakland, California. Now that's horrible. That you be asked to adjust that quickly. I think back when my dad and his friends were in the Second World War. They were blessed, they fought hard and dirty. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible, horrible war. But they were blessed with the fact that transportation wasn't as rapid as it is today. They got a chance to be on a cruise ship and smoke a few cigarettes, tell stories with their buddies who they had shared combat with, and decompress for maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a month by the time they got sent home to their wife and children. They had a chance to decompress. These people today, these marvelous, wonderful people, men and women, mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and daughters and sons. They're in combat having their arms and legs blown off, and then they're being put into a hospital. They're getting pretty good care, but not real good care. They need to be getting better care than any of our congressmen or any of our senators, any of our politicians. They can go to Walter Reed Hospital and get a suite. Well, I hope that the military is taking better care today, and if they're not, shame on them. Shame on them. Anyway, that's an editorial. My brother, when he got home, he spent 10 days at my place before he went back to his family. And he spent 10 days in the bathtub. Didn't talk, but he spent most of those 10 days in the bathtub. And he told me years later that I saved his life just by being there. And I didn't know at the time what he meant. I didn't know what he was referring to then. But he said, Bob, you saved my life. I had 10 days to try and get the blood off. He spent 10 days in the bathtub trying to get the blood off. Don't mean to be this a downer, but think about, and every time you see a service person, I don't care if they're 80 years old and they're wearing a Navy hat from some destroyer or carrier, or somebody from Vietnam, or the Forgotten War, Korea. You walk up and you shake their hand and you say, thank you for your service. God bless you. God bless you. And so, God bless Dave and his ministry with Eagle's Wings, because he's reaching out to a very vulnerable part of our population, and all of us need to reach out. Reach out every day when you're in a store, the shopping center, and Costco, Safeway, wherever you are. Reach out and say thank you.
Bob, so, one of the things that I just want to add just real quickly.
Go.
As we talk to counselors and people who work with veterans, especially the people that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, yes, one of the things you do need to say is, we thank you for your service, but follow that up with, and how are you doing? The story that you just relayed about your brother, we have talked to a number of folks, and there have been suicides averted because somebody asked that simple question. Okay, thank you for the service to your country, but how are you doing? How are you doing? How do you feel?
Very good.
Psychologically, how are things with you? How are things at home? What can I do to help? And a lot of times we don't ask those questions because we're afraid that we don't have the quick pat answers. But sometimes what they're wanting to hear is that somebody cares. And that's why we're doing the 9/11 event. That's why we're spending a day doing that. So when you go up to a service person who's just returned from overseas, thank them for the service to the country, and then ask, how are you doing? And even if they say, I'm fine, you may have helped more than you know just by showing that you care. So I just wanted to add that.
Well, that's so important what Dave just said. You know, and look them in the eye. Look them in the eye. Know what they've been through. And it doesn't make any difference if they spent their entire time in the supply depot or in the kitchen. They all wrote the same check to Uncle Sam, cash for the full amount, which sometimes guys that haven't, and I know I didn't have a combat experience. For many years, I thought, well, I'm not quite as good as those that did. And then a friend of mine said, Bob, you wrote a check. I went, what? He said, you wrote the same check everybody else did. You said the government could cash it for your life if that's what it took. So whether they were in the cook shack or in the supply tent, doesn't make any difference. They wrote the same check. Look them in the eye and say, thank God, and how are you doing? And hang on to their hand for a second or two and let them know that it's coming from your heart, that it's a capacity. Everybody says, hey, how are you doing today? And everybody goes, oh, it's a good day. We're so used to hearing that. But if you stop and say, and I do this when I go through a check stand. They go, everybody, it's you're trained to do it. How are you doing today? What do you got in plan? Where you're going through a coffee stand? I got one coffee stand. All the girls ask the same question. Oh, what do you got planned for today? They don't really care. And if they did, they wouldn't turn their back on you and walk away. Okay. Now that's not their fault. That's they haven't got time to sit and chit chat. Okay. But when you're looking at a veteran, he doesn't expect you to take him home, or to buy him lunch, or to feel sorry for him. But he wants to know and appreciates knowing you care. That you care. So, that being said, you can tell Dave and I care. We really care about what we're doing. I don't come in here to spend an hour talking, and if the phone doesn't ring, you go, oh gosh, nobody called in. Well, okay, maybe you got what you were looking for. Maybe you got the answer. Hopefully you got the answer from what either Dave or I said. You didn't have to call in. He said, Bob answered it. Well, good. In the future, and we're going to be coming to you every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night. Same time, same station. 7 o'clock Pacific. Right here in beautiful Central Oregon, Bend. But we're going to be putting together here in the next few weeks a regular class where if you want to attend, you can. We'll do the same thing. It'll be a video stream. But I'll be standing up in front of a whiteboard or a flip chart, and we'll be giving basic instruction on setting goals, how to set strategy, how to analyze what you're doing, all the basics, how to overcome procrastination, control the little voice inside of you that says, no, you can't do that. That's been done before. You're too late. What do you mean you're going to write a book about that? Some of you already wrote a book about that. You know that little voice? The one that sabotages everything that you think about doing? We're going to be having formal 1-hour classes. And you'll still be able to call in. It'll just be a little different environment. It'll be down the hall, in a classroom. Now, you're not going to know if there's anybody there or not because the camera's going to be on me. But if you want to join us, in fact, you could join us before that. You can come here and sit alongside of me if you want to. Before that, we're at 711 Butler Market in Bend. Butler Market in Boyd Acres, the former KBNB building, is where Ephesians Visions Ministry is set up. And you can come in, have a Well, we don't have a coffee pot. I buy mine on the way in. But we got a candy machine. We got pop. We got orange juice. So if you want to come in before that and just say hi, we'd be more than happy to hear from you and to meet you. If after we're off the air, if you want to have some prayer time, be happy to do that. If you want to sit down and talk about business, heard you on the tube tonight. Any chance that I can just show up next week and kind of sit down, and maybe after you're off the air, I can talk a little bit about business, and I got some problems, or you want to talk to Pastor Dave about some spiritual challenges? More than happy to see you. The door's open. There's a neon sign outside that says open. We're open. You can get a hold of him. The best way to email you, Dave, is...
There's several, but probably the easiest one to remember is dave.evm1@gmail.com. Or just go to our website, evmmedia.info, which is the main site that you're on. So, and it's probably the site that folks are watching right now. So it's www.evmmedia.info. And there's a link on there for your email address and mine as well.
And for you military guys, that's Echo Victor Mildred? No. It's a 2 M's there. evmmedia.info. And you can reach me at Bob at Robert Schuster, SCHUSTER.com. Robert Schuster, no, it's Bob at robertschuster.com. Bob at robertschuster.com. Or pull up my website, which is Dynamic Coaching, Dynamic, 2 C's, coaching.org. And we'll be happy to set up a time either for business talk or for spiritual talk. Happy to meet with you. Just give us a buzz. My phone number is 541-312-3823. 3823. 541-312-3823. So you either get a hold of Dave or get a hold of myself. We've given you several ways to do that this evening, and hope to hear from you. And God bless, and thank you for your time this evening. I'll be signing off now, and God bless. Have a great week and a great life. Thank you.